Lesson 18 homework. Number 1, multiply using fraction form and unit form. Check your answer by counting the decimal places. The first one is done for you. So they've done part A for us. Let's move on to part B. So we have 3 3/10 times 8/10. Now, it wants us to put it first in fraction form like they've done over here. So 3 3/10 is equal to 33/10. Because the whole 3 would be equal to 30/10 plus 3/10. So that makes 33/10. And 8/10 is just 8/10. So if we multiply that out, that would be equal to 33 times 8 over 10 times 10. Now, I'm going to go ahead and multiply here so that I can figure out what 33 times 8 is. So if we are multiplying using the standard algorithm, we're multiplying 33/10 times 8/10. So 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 2. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 2 is 26. So we get 264. And then 10 times 10 is 100. So we have 264 hundredths. Or that is equal to 264 hundredths. So what we want to do is divide. If we do 264 divided by 100, we get 2 64 hundredths. C, 4 4/10 times 3 2/10. So if we write that as a fraction problem, 4 4/10 would be equal to 44/10 as a improper fraction, times 3 2/10 is 32/10. So what we have is 44/10 times 32/10. So if I'm going to go ahead and multiply that out, 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Put our 0 down. We're done with the 2, on to 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. I add them together. I get 1,408. And so we have, continuing with our fraction form, 44 times 32 over 10 times 10, which would be equal to, 44 times 32 was this, 1,408, and 10 times 10 is hundredths. So we have 1,408 hundredths. But we want to actually figure out what that answer is. So if we do 1,408 divided by 100, we're going to get, we just need to shift the decimal point, or shift the digits 2 places, because we're dividing, we're shifting the digits 2 places to the right. So we have 14 8 hundredths, or 1,408 hundredths. Part D, 2 2/10 times 1 6/10. So that would be equal to 22/10 times 16/10. Or, if I want to do the standard algorithm, 22/10 times 16/10. I'm going to go ahead and multiply that out. So 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Done with the 6, onto the 1. Get rid of what I carried. Put our placeholder down. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. If I add it together, I have 352. And then if I continue multiplying, so 22 times 16 over 10 times 10 would be equal to, 22 times 16 was 352 over 10 times 10 is 100, so hundredths. And if we actually want to multiply that out, we can do 352 divided by 100 would be equal to, shifting the digits 2 places to the left, we would have 3 and 52 hundredths. So we have 352 hundredths or 352 hundredths. Number 2. Multiply using fraction form and unit form. The first one is partially done for you. So they did everything except the algorithm. So let's multiply. We have 336 hundredths times 14 tenths. So I'm going to start with the 4. 4 times 6 is 24. Carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. Erase what I carried and move on to the 1 with a placeholder. 1 times 6 is 1, or 6. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Add everything together. I get 4,704. And if I have hundredths times tenths, 100 times 10, multiplying that out would be thousandths. So we have 4,704 thousandths, which is equal to 4 and 704 thousandths. B, 3 and 35 hundredths times 7 tenths. So 3 and 35 hundredths would be equal to 335 hundredths times 7 tenths, or 335 times 7 over 100 times 10. So let's multiply it out. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry the 3. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 3 is 24. Carry the 2. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 2 is 23. So we get 2,345. We had hundredths times tenths. So 100 times 10 is 1,000 or thousandths. So then over here, what we have is 2,345 over 100 times 10 is thousandths, and 2,345, I don't know why I keep doing that, 2,345 divided by 1,000 is equal to 2 and 345 thousandths. C, 4 and 4 hundredths times 3 and 2 tenths. So 4 and 4 hundredths would be equal to 404 hundredths times 3 and 2 tenths is 32 tenths. So what we have is 404 times 32 over 100 times 10. I'm going to multiply that out. So we have 404 hundredths times 32 tenths. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 4 is 8. Put our 0 down. Done with the 2. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. 3 times 4 is 12. Add it together. We get 12,928 hundredths times tenths would get us thousandths. So over here, when we've multiplied, we get 12,928 thousandths. And if we divide, that by 1,000, we shift the decimal point 3 places to the left, we would have 12 and 928 thousandths. D, 4 and 4 tenths times 16 hundredths. So we have 4 and 4 tenths, which would be 44 tenths, times 16 hundredths would be equal to 44 tenths times 16 hundredths. If I multiply this out, I have 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 2 is 26. Put my 0 down, erase what I carried, onto the 1. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 4 is 4. Add it together. I get 704, and we have tenths times hundredths. So 10 times 100 is thousandths. And if I write it out over here, we have 44 times 16 over 10 times 100 would be equal to 704 thousandths. And 704 divided by 1,000 is equal to 704 thousandths. Number 3, solve using the standard algorithm. Show your thinking about the units of your product. The first one is done for you. Okay, so B wants us to solve with the standard algorithm. So let's just multiply here. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. Put my 0 down. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Add it together. We get 483, and we had tenths times tenths is hundredths. And if I were to show that with the units, we would have 23 tenths times 21 tenths is equal to 23 times 21 over 100. And 483 hundredths would be equal to 4 and 83 hundredths. Letter C, 7 and 41 hundredths. That would be equal to 741 hundredths times 3 and 4 tenths is 34 tenths. So we have 741 hundredths times 34 tenths. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 1 is 29. Put our 0 down. Erase that 1. On to the 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. Add it together. We get 25,194. I'm going to write this over here. Got a little squished. 25,194 hundredths times tenths is thousandths. So then up here, what we get is 741 times 34 over 100 times 10 is equal to 25,194 thousandths. And if we were to divide that out, we get 25 and 194 thousandths. Part D, 6 and 50 hundredths times 4 and 5 tenths. Now 6 and 50 hundredths, I'm going to simplify this. We don't need that 0 at the end. So I'm just going to leave it as 6 and 5 tenths. So 6 and 5 tenths is equal to 65 tenths times 4 and 5 tenths is 45 tenths. Now you could leave it and make it 650 hundredths. We'll get the same answer in the end. It's just going to be a little bit more math, a few extra numbers, but you'll get the same thing at the end. So this is equal to 65 times 45 over 10 times 10. And we would have 65 tenths times 45 tenths. So if we multiply, 5 times 5 is 25, carry the 2. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32. Put our 0 down. Get rid of the 2. Onto the 4. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 2 is 26. Add it together. We get 2,925. And tenths times tenths is hundredths. So I'm going to continue this part over here. So that's equal to 2,925 over 10 times 10 is 100. And if we do 2,925 divided by 100, we will get 29 and 25 hundredths. Number 4. Eric buys 2.5 pounds of cashews. If each pound of cashews costs $7.70, how much will he pay for the cashews? So he has 2 5/10 pounds, and it costs $7.70 each. So we have 2 5/10 times 770. Again, I'm going to get rid of this 0 and make it 7 7/10. So what we have is 25 tenths times 77 tenths, or 25 tenths times 77 tenths. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 3, or 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3, 17. Put our 0 down. Erase what I carried. Done with that 7. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry the 3. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3, 17. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 7 is 9. So we have 1,925. And tenths times tenths would get us hundredths. So this is equal to 1,925 hundredths, and 1,925 divided by 100 is equal to 19.25. So it's going to cost $19.25 for the cashews. Number 5, a swimming pool at a park measures 9 7/75 meters by 7 2/10 meters. Find the area. So area is length times width. So we would have 9 7/75 times 7 2/10 meters. So 975 hundredths times 72 tenths. multiply it out. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Erase my ones. Done with the 2, onto the 7, put my placeholder down. 7 times 5 is 35, carry the 3. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 3 is 52. 7 times 9 is 63, plus 5 is 68. Add it all together. We get 70,200. Hundredths times tenths would be thousandths. So this is equal to 975 times 72 over 100 times 10, which is equal to 70,200 thousandths. And if we were to divide that, 70,200 divided by 1,000, we get 70 and 0.200, or we could just leave it as 70 and 2/10 meters squared, or square meters, because we're talking area. B, the area of the playground. So the area of the playground is 1.5 times that of the swimming pool. So here's the swimming pool area. The playground is 1.5. 1.5, or 1 5/10 of the swimming pool. Find the total area of the swimming pool. So 1.5 times 70 and 2/10. 1 5/10 is equal to 15/10 times 70 and 2/10 would be 702/10. So we would have 15 times 702 over 10 times 10. So let's do, I'm going to do 702/10 times 15/10. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 5 times 7 is 35. Put our 0 down. Done with that 1. On to the next one. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 7 is 7. Add everything together. We get 10,530. Over 100. And tenths times tenths would be hundredths. So we have 10,530 hundredths. And 10,530 divided by 100 is equal to 105 3/10 meters squared. Now, that's not our final answer because we want to know what's the total area of the swimming pool and the playground. So we need to add 105 3/10 plus the area of the swimming pool, 70 and 2/10. So when we add those, we get 175 5/10 meters squared. So that is our final answer.